we are racing to a precipice. It'll be the end of organized human life, not in the distant future. Not everyone's not going to die tomorrow, but we will soon reach irreversible tipping points, after which there's a steady decline to a world that is totally unlivable. I mean, we're coming close to the point where South Asia, much of the Middle East and Africa, will literally be unlivable. I mean, temperatures in Pakistan and India are reaching close to 50 degrees Celsius. Well, I happen to live in the desert in Arizona, where temperatures go into the 40s, but this is a rich country. I have solar panels on the roof, air conditioning system. Okay, we can manage. Not if you're a peasant in Rajasthan or in Punjab, you're not going to survive. So or in Bangladesh, what's going to happen to these tens of millions of people? This investor advisor who I quoted before started by saying, it doesn't matter if Miami is 6 feet underwater. We have the technology to keep going. What happens when Bangladesh is 6 feet underwater? A peasant up the coastal plains with tens of millions of people. Well, that's somebody else's problem. We just are worried about the rich and powerful. So what is the advice? We know what to do. We have the programs that can end this feasibly. So get to work and make sure that the gangsters who run the world are compelled to pursue these policies. That can be done. We don't live in totalitarian states. The stormtroopers aren't coming in to throw us both into the gulag for talking like this. Okay, that means we have a large measure of freedom. So let's use it. Well, it's very interesting to watch. So take right now, Sweden and Finland are applying for membership in NATO. Sweden's a very interesting case. When it looked like the Nazis were going to rule the world, Sweden was neutral, was tilting towards the Nazis, helping them. But now there's a much more severe danger than the Nazis. Who is it? The Russians. And you take a look at Sweden and Finland. Actually, I've just had some interviews there talking about it. It's quite interesting. They have two ideas in mind. One idea is gloating over the fact that Putin has demonstrated that the Russian military is a paper tiger, totally incompetent, no leadership, can't function, can't even conquer cities a couple of kilometers from the border. So wonderful. They've demonstrated that they're nothing, just a paper tiger. That's one idea. Second idea, we have to cower in terror before this paper tiger and arm ourselves to the teeth because it's planning to take over the whole world. Well, George Orwell had a name for that. He called it doublethink, the capacity to have two contradictory ideas in mind and believe both of them. He thought that was a feature of hyper-totalitarian states, but it's in fact a feature of educated, liberal, democratic societies, which tells you something. You can't believe both of these ideas and be sane. What's happening is totally different. It has nothing to do with the security of Sweden and Finland. Both of them are advanced industrial states with substantial military systems, big military producers. There is not a slightest security concern, but there are other concerns. So, for example, Saab military industries in Sweden would love to have a bigger market for its military production. Same with Finland, major military producer itself. They're both more or less integrated into the NATO military command already, just a small step to formalize it. But if they do, terrific markets. And furthermore, you can drive these countries farther to the right, undermine what's left of their social democratic systems, move them into the more neoliberal form of anti-social democratic continental Europe. That's what's happening. It's pretty obvious. The security claim is absolutely zero. It's not even a joke. Now take Germany. Germany is now rapidly increasing its military production. With current plans, it will soon be the biggest military power on the continent, comparable in military power to Russia, not with nuclear weapons, but of course they're supplied by the United States, so it's no difference. Well, there are people like me who are old enough to have enough historical memory not to be too happy when they see Germany becoming the most powerful military force in the region. Well, is that something we might think about? Is Germany doing this for defense? What are the chances of Russia attacking Germany? I mean, it's more likely that Germany will be hit by an avalanche which will destroy the whole country. I mean, we're not even talking about the real world here. It couldn't. Partnership of Peace, which was the first George Bush administration, early Clinton years, was not very different from Gorbachev's proposal for the post-war, post-Soviet world. He called it a European common home with no military alliances. Well, the wording of you read Clinton's early speeches, 1993, 1994, he was developing the Partnership of Peace. It didn't eliminate NATO, but it marginalized it. It was to the side. You could be members of the Partner of Peace without being members of NATO. So Tajikistan joined. Actually, Russia could have joined, as they were trying to do. That was early 1990s. By the mid-1990s, Clinton was changing his tune. He was still telling his friend Yeltsin, don't worry, we're not going to go to your borders. But he was telling the ethnic communities in the United States, don't worry, your countries are going to join NATO. Polish community, vote for me, we'll bring you into NATO. Totally domestic political concerns. In fact, Clinton conceded this. You look at 1997, he had a discussion with NATO, with Yeltsin, it's been declassified, in which he says to his friend Boris, look, I just have to bring Poland into NATO or I'm not going to win the next election. But it doesn't mean anything. We're not going to do anything about it, so don't worry about it. Okay.